I'm going to go ahead and call to order the City Council regular meeting. It is 6 p.m. Tuesday, October 17th, 2023. We're in Granbury City Hall, 116 West Bridge Street in Granbury, Texas, 76048. Now call to order, and I would like to ask Reverend Daniel Lee of the Downtown Church of Christ to come forward and offer the blessing. Mr. Lee is not here today. Then I'm going to ask our city manager, Mr. Chris Kaufman, to offer a blessing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If you would, bow with me. Father, we just come to you tonight. We just thank you for the blessings that you've given us. Number one, just to live in Granbury and to appreciate our small town and our good family values and the love and friendship that we have here. And just thank you for the blessing of the community and all that goes with it. And Father, I just thank you for the churches that work hard to bring people to know you. Thank you for their efforts. Pray that they be successful. And Lord, we just want to lay our council meeting before you tonight, ask that you would give us wisdom, help us to make good decisions, and as these council decide how they want to vote, if they haven't already, to give them wisdom beyond their own expertise, and just give your Holy Spirit wisdom in their souls. And Father, just thank you again for the opportunity to be a servant to our community. We just get to look out and be a servant and help those that are in need of help, and help those that don't need help in other ways that they can appreciate. Father, just bless our time together in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Now if you'll join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Under the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. Now we're going to go to number 4, proclamation and presentation, and we have a proclamation proclaiming October 2023 as Monarch Butterfly Migration Month. I thought I saw a monarch, oh, I do see a monarch butterfly out there, okay.
It's up there. I don't know if you can read that one.
It's good. And we're happy to have you here. I'm going to go through this proclamation, then I know that you have some words. That's why I knew.
Microphone.
Right again. Look at this is our official proclamation. Whereas the monarch butterfly is the Texas state insect and is known as the ambassador of the Americas for its multi-generation 3,000-mile migration across Canada, the United States, and Mexico. And whereas thousands of monarch butterflies travel through Texas on their full journey south to Mexico, stopping in Granbury's green spaces to show their brilliant orange and black wings as they search for nectar-rich flowers. And whereas researchers are trying to determine why the monarch butterfly's population is sharply declining, possibly due to loss of habitat, and whereas to raise awareness of the importance of creating monarch butterfly habitats, the Lake Granbury Master Gardeners maintain a demonstration garden to offer educational classes and to boost a yearly outreach to encourage the community to plant milkweed and nectar plants as preparation of the monarch butterfly migration through Granbury and Hood County. Now therefore, I, Jim Jarrett, Mayor of the City of Granbury, Texas, do hereby proclaim the month of October 2023 as Monarch Butterfly Migration Month in Granbury, and encourage all citizens to join the Lake Granbury Master Gardeners in celebrating the culmination of a year-long effort romance? The words say to sustain adult monarch butterflies, but go with romance, something like that. While on their migration through Granbury and Hood County, and this is given into my hand and seal the city of Granbury on the 17th day of October 2023. I'm anxiously waiting to hear what you have to say.
Thank you, Mayor. This is really, it's a very important proclamation that the mayor has just made, and this is actually in combination with the National Wildlife Federation, monarchwatch.org, and Lake Granbury Master Gardeners. We are on a nationwide project to try to keep the monarch butterfly from going extinct. And the only way we can do that is to plant milkweed and encourage the entire life cycle. So Lake Granbury Master Gardeners romance the monarch butterfly year-round by making sure that our green spaces, our gardens, our private gardens, and our fields have nectar, milkweed, what they need for their migration. They're migrating right now. You guys look up. The sky is orange right now with monarchs as they're coming through Hood County. The great thing is, stop me if you want to, the great thing is that living here in Hood County, we're getting the third generation of monarch butterflies coming into our county right now. Those that have monarch milkweed already planted, the mamas are laying those eggs. Those eggs become the butterflies that go down all the way to Mexico and hibernate in Mexico for 4 to 6 months. That is so cool that we not only celebrate the monarch butterfly migration, but we are rolling out the welcome mat and hosting their families to be raised here and continue on with their life.
That's why we're known as the celebration capital of Texas. Just another reason. Thank you so much. Appreciate you coming. Thank you.
No, I bring you milkweed in July.
Get a quick photo with the two of you, please.
Romancing. Yeah, that word is romancing.
Can I get one? Can I get one too? Sure. No paper.
Four 4.2, City Council, City Manager issue encouraging statements and recognize city staff. Mr. Kaufman, you want to start there?
So today I was going through our strategic plan, finally been able to print it, and that's progress. IT department has making waves for us to where we can actually access some of our old files. For some of us, well, I'm the guinea pig, but I was able to pull up that, and one of our goals that was established in 2022 was to establish the Economic Development Department, hire staffing for it, and we did that last year. And as a result of that, Lance LaCour attended the Texas Economic Development Council annual conference, and he submitted a project that we've done already here. And we didn't win, but we got the merit recognition plaque. So this shows progress, is what I'm trying to tell you, that we're making progress in our economic development world. And Lance is doing a great job, and y'all know about the projects that he's working on. We discussed them in closed session that are confidential. And but anyway, I thought that was a good first stride right out of the box. First annual conference since he's been here, and we're already getting some kind of reward, so that's good. Thank you, Lance. Appreciate you.
No competition with Tammy, right?
Whole different group. Whole different group.
But speaking of Tammy, she hosted what was it, the Texas Hospitality
Lodging Association.
Lodging Association hosted a gentleman today who gave us an update on the recent state legislature, which was quite interesting, and the things that they have to do on an ongoing basis just to keep up with all of the laws that come along, both affecting us negatively and positively. And I just say that all of the group keeps, all of the staff keeps up with their state representatives in the state associations, professional associations, the whole bit, to make sure that Granbury is out there on the leading edge, not the bleeding edge.
Thank you.
It's very much
Absolutely.
appreciated.
You know, you can just look at every department, you know, from the aviation, tourism, I mean, every department, public works, every department that we have, police department, always excelling. You know, satisfactory is not satisfactory. We're seeking excellence in all that we do, and that's just part of what we are here to achieve for you as a community, and we thank you for giving us the opportunity to do that.
Communications, law enforcement, I mean,
Everything.
just every piece of it. Anybody else? Okay. Well, let's move along to the public comments on agenda items for non-public hearing agenda items. There are no public hearings today, or tonight. Do we have anyone that is signed up? Caller? So no one is signed up to speak. Okay. We'll move to the consent agenda. We'll say that all items on the consent agenda are routine or previously discussed items and will be approved with one motion. However, should a member of the city council wish to discuss any item, said item may be removed from the consent agenda and considered under the deliberation agenda. Are there any items that council wants to bring forward? I see no one asking. So I'd like to hear a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Vail.
make a motion to present the consent agenda.
Here a second.
Second.
Mr. Corrigan makes a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. I believe that passes 6-0. Thank you, council. I'm going to just make a quick comment. Last week, or it was last week, there was a conference that many of us attended, and in fact, all of us attended. But we went to many different of the different programs that were there. And one of the programs that was there was how to speed up the meeting. So you may see us trying some of those things and working with our council here on how we can speed this meeting up and make sure that it's just as informational and transparent as any of the meetings, but runs at a lot faster pace. Now, I've said that, I don't have to say any more again. We can speed on. We can move right along. The deliberation agenda, number 7.1, consider awarding project number 16-6523 to Graycon Construction, Inc., based on their proposal in the amount of $34,112,000 for the East Wastewater Treatment Plant Improvement Project, authorizing the city manager to execute the contract. Mr. Kaufman.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. As you're well aware, we have rebid this project, and we have gone through with a scoring process that's included in your packet, and also it's included in the bid tab item in your bid packet, and it also has the respective pricing. The pricing did not account for 100% of the selection process, ability to deliver, capacity to do the job, and financial stability all went into it. And at the end of the day, we have a recommendation from our engineering firm that helped us go through this process that recommends that we award the contract to Graycon Construction, Inc. for a total price of $34,112,000. And I would like to add that Graycon did phase 1 of the desal water treatment plant, and they did it on time and within budget. And so we've got a great working relationship with them from that project, and staff too makes the same recommendation. We do have Keith Kendall with Improtech Hibbs and Todd here with us tonight if you have any questions be happy to let him answer them. Thank you.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Mayor, thank you. Keith, what were the differences between the companies that you looked at this time and the companies that we looked at the previous time that we put out this bid?
Pretty much everybody that came back and bid the same.
Okay.
We still had ACS, PLW, Graycon, and others, and so they're all the same. They came back and sharpened their pencils a little bit more. Graycon, they had previously submitted $38 million, and it was under a CMAR within it. This is more of a proposal type phase within it, where we just took everything off the table. We had pre-procurement of equipment packages at that time, so it's not really apples to apples within it. This is one where it's full-blown bid everything, as you can see in the bid tabulation within it. So we were quite happy that all four companies came back to rebid, and we got good bids. As you can see, they're all pretty well centered around that $34 million cost, with a few $100,000 in between.
So my next question is this the cost that we're seeing now post-COVID? Is this what you're seeing across the board in your industry?
It is, unfortunately, with it. I'm not sure in my career I would ever see $34 a gallon for a wastewater treatment, advanced wastewater treatment plant, I should say, because this does have the biological nutrient removal, and it has the membrane bioreactors, BNR and MBR, so it is quite advanced. So you're going to pay more than you would for a conventional plant within that, but it meets the parameters of what we're saying for the TCQ in the future. That was part of the planning. We're going to see things like phosphorus limits and other items that may come up, PFAS, some of the emerging contaminants and others. This plant will be in a much better position to handle that, so that you're not going back to do retrogrades within it, which was the reason we were instructed to go forward with the advanced treatment plant to do that, and why it was selected as we were doing all the planning way back when within it. But yes, the short answer is, I have been spending a lot of time at councils explaining it just can't possibly cost this much, and yes, it does within it. The other thing that we're saying is the longer time frames. I know some of you may have questions. What is the completion time on this? It's 27 months, because that allows for some of the delays that's going to come in just because of supply chain issues of getting some of the equipment in within that. And they have talked with their manufacturers and their suppliers, and that's what they're comfortable with on the 27 months supplying that. We had estimated 24 months. We're comfortable with the 27 months that they have proposed for substantial completion within it. Obviously, with the price being the way it is, I certainly wish I could tell you that this is the exception, but it's not. We're saying this in other wastewater treatment plants that we have bid, and water treatment plants too, and not just us, but talking with other engineers, we're all experiencing this.
I appreciate what your company does for us and getting these bids and looking at them and reviewing them. We appreciate all the hard work. One last statement. The sacrifices that the city has to make in order to move forward with this, we're looking at almost sacrificing $10 million of other projects that we could have done, but because of the increase in cost, we had to put those projects on the back burner, which is really sad, because when you're a steward of the city's money and your taxpayers' money, it's sad because we're not getting the most bang for the buck because of price increases throughout the years of this delay of the wastewater treatment facility. So, but the city is doing everything as possible to be diligent and be good stewards of the city taxpayers' money. And I just want to say, Chris, to your staff and everybody that was involved in this, thank you for looking at this and seeing how we can even reduce the cost from $38 million to $34 million. So appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor, I might add something to that as well. I network with other city managers regularly as well, and talk sewer plants and pricing and what they're going through in their communities. And the top system that we replaced at the South Treatment Plant is going for these same prices in other cities. So I feel like we're getting a good value here in today's world. It's unfortunate. I just want to go on record to say that when we were looking at this in 2018, it was $10 million, a little under $10 million to do this project. And if you'll recall, we did the CMAR construction to upgrade the old plant with all new facilities, new technology, and implement this type sewer treatment plant. And our estimate for the CMAR was almost $15 million. And by the time we got through with COVID and the delays and the electric switch that goes from the main power to the unit took 2 years to get. So the delay in parts and things, and it's not getting any better. And so I hope that we can get this rolling and move forward quickly. So it's 3.5 times what it should cost, according before COVID. So that's what we're dealing with.
You're going to make me cry recounting all that. I hate the fact that we're.
And you know, I've got to throw this in as well. Whenever the federal government prints $4 trillion and hands it to cities and tribal nations across the United States and says, go build infrastructure, it creates a demand and a supply shortage. And good old economics says when the supply is short, the price goes up when the demand is high. So the demand is extremely high right now. And of course, Texas is experiencing growth. 1,200 people a day move to Texas, and they're not bringing their sewer plants with them and their water treatment plants and their roads, and we're having to provide those. So it's just the nature of where we live. We're blessed to live in Texas in a growing economy, but this inflation's killing us. So
It is. It's just to add, Chris, a little bit what you said about Graycon. They've been in business for 46 years, Mesquite, Texas. We've worked with them for 34 years, off and on, at different projects within it. So we know them pretty well, and I know the city of Granbury pretty well. And despite the long road to get here, I couldn't be happier to finally be here in front of you today, especially Gibbs and Todd. This has been a long road for everybody, and this is, despite everything, is a great day to get this moving.
And one last comment, we're going to have an agenda item at our next meeting in November to officially procure Improtech Gibbs and Todd services to oversee the construction, do the engineering, on-site testing, and all that at our next meeting. We weren't able to put this on this agenda today.
That's not going to delay us. We're starting tomorrow.
We're moving forward. I just didn't want them to think that this is all settled. We do have one more contract we need to execute.
Mr. Wadley.
So this advanced system, I've been up here for 5 years. Nothing's changed about the design in the last 5 years.
No, sir.
I mean, what we're having bid on now is what we would have done 5 years ago.
That's correct. Nothing within the plans and specifications from 5 years ago has changed within that.
Because, and I know Mr. Kaufman said that when this was first looked at, it was 10 million. When I was elected 5 years ago, it was 13 million. And so I know the opposition had good intentions. You know, they really felt like this is what they needed to do. But the delay caused by that, the lawsuits and everything, has cost the city $20 million. And so, you know, you went on record with what you said. That's what Eddie just said, not including legal fees. But I mean, the cost of this is $20 million because of the delay. And I just, you know, we're building the same thing. It needed to be built. When I first got elected, Mr. Kaufman said he wanted to, you know, they'd already chosen what they were going to do. He wanted to make sure that I didn't have any problems with it. And I said, I'd like to sit down with our consultant and see why we're doing what we're doing. And this gentleman right here went over the whole project with me. Before optometry, I was an engineer, and I'd never built a wastewater plant, but I helped build a nuclear plant. And there wasn't anything about this I couldn't understand, and it was a great plan. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
But I hate the delay because of the expense that it's cost.
Okay.
Could I have him elaborate on something?
Sure.
Keith, I know you may not know the parameters of the permit as far as water quality goes, but from what I understand, we're increasing from what we used to make from, I think it was type 2 to type 1 or vice versa.
That is correct.
Kid-
We're going from type 2 to type 1. So you're, as we like to say, you're one step away from potable water and reuse.
Right.
Within that.
And that could happen in the future if needed.
Certainly could. As the drought continues, or more importantly, if you look at the Water Board in the toolbox, they suggest for communities for alternative water supply. Reclaimed water is right at the top, and you're seeing the other communities that are just flat out don't have any more water supplies have implemented them. We have 3 now just in Texas alone that have started reclaimed water. The Wichita Falls is shut down, but when they hit their next drought, they'll start that plant right back up again.
And just for the education of the general public here today, I just want to say that before we can even go that route, we have to build the plant and have a discharge permit. We've got the permit, we're moving forward. At some point in time, we could pipe that water to a park and irrigate with it, or we could pipe it to the desal plant and run it through there and have great water. So
Yes, sir.
reverse osmosis works miracles.
It's a nice tool to have in your toolbox, and I can't stress enough, why this plant is so advanced. Is one, is when we want to make sure we take care of the Lake Granbury, but we also want to put the city in a position where we know the phosphorus regulations are coming, and we know emergent contaminants been talked about. So we already got a positive on the phosphorus, so we know biological nutrient removal puts you in a cost-effective position to remove the phosphorus down to the permit limits you're probably going to get, as well as meeting this other. And then you have the type 1 where you can potentially do the reuse, so that this plant is not outdated 10 years now, or 12 years now, 20 years down the road. You can still do some things. We're fortunate we have the water supply, we have the lake, we have other alternatives we can do for water supply. But when you need to pull that tool out of the toolbox, it's not like you've got to start all over again.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other discussion? No other discussion? Do I hear a motion that we approve or we award the project number 16-6523 to Graycon Construction, Inc., based on their proposal in the amount of $34,112,000 for the East Wastewater Treatment Plant Improvement Project, authorize the city manager to execute the contract.
So moved.
Let's flip the, Ms. Burwell makes a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Mr. Wadley makes a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Passes 6-0. Thank you, Keith. Thank you. Coffin. Okay, we'll move to 7.2, discuss and consider renewing an emergency potable water supply agreement between the City of Granbury and Mesa Grande Water Supply Corp. and authorize the city manager to execute the agreement. Mr. Coffin.
Thank you, Mayor. We currently, in the past, we've had a emergency water supply agreement with Mesa Grande. They're the subdivision off of Holly Hills Road, and they are in the process of updating their permit requirements with TCQ. And in order to allow them not to be required to buy a big standby generator, they would like to renew this old agreement and activate that and be able to rely on us in the event they have a mechanical failure or if TCQ causes their processing treatment to be suspended and they need water for their customers. So that's what they call the emergency. It's not because they are not producing enough water for their citizens with their own wells. It's because of some kind of a natural disaster where the power has failed and they need pumping. So we put together the same agreement as last time. We did add the caveat that it would be provided to them at 35 PSI, which is not a problem for us. As you may recall, back in 2018-2019 period, we ran a 12-inch water line around the loop, and they were previously tied onto us already, and so we reattached them at that point to that line. It's just they don't have an agreement. We're trying to be a good neighbor, and they need to get this document to them. There's no cost involved. Section 2 shows things that have been done in the past, just to let you know that we didn't pay for all their connections and what have you. So I'd be happy to answer any questions. We did limit them to 1.3 million gallons per month, which is what the old agreement said, which is more water than they sell right now to their existing customers. So it doesn't put us in a supply bind at all as we go forward, because it's emergency use. It's not wholesale water. And so as long as we're not providing them wholesale water on a regular basis, it doesn't affect our capacities that we produce. Any questions? I'll be happy to answer. And we do have Keith Kendall here too. He's an expert on this kind of thing too, if we need him.
Chris?
Mr. Rodriguez.
You said it was an emergency use, but let's say their equipment's, I mean, we're seeing delays in supply and demand, so let's say it's a critical component that breaks down and it takes 2 months for them to get this. Is there a limitation? I don't know if I saw that or just read over it. Was there a limitation of if they go over a certain time period? Is there a time period to this contract?
There is not a time period, and we would work with them based on the parameters that we've laid out, the 1.3 million gallons per month. And our water is quite a bit more expensive than their water. They're out of the city limits. I just happened to bring a rate sheet. If they were to buy that much water, they'd be spending about $14.19 a thousand, where they're probably charging their customers about $3 a thousand. So it's in their best interest to get that shut off as quickly as possible. And so I don't see them ever going to be relying on us to meet their long-term needs, just emergency only. And the long-term would not be due to them not providing water. So it has to be an emergency situation. Does that help? Anybody else?
Any other questions? No? Okay. Do I hear a motion to consider renewing an emergency potable water supply agreement between the City of Granbury and Mesa Grande Water Supply Corp., authorize the city manager to execute the agreement?
So moved.
Mr. Corrigan makes a motion.
Second.
Mr. Bale, second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. I hear no nays. Pass 6-0. 7.3, take action to declare a catastrophe pursuant to Texas Local Government Code 552.2325 and establishing an initial 7-day suspension period related to open records, and authorize the city manager to submit the suspension and any subsequent extension to the suspensions to the Texas Attorney General as set out in state law. Mr. Corrigan or Mr. Goffman?
I'm going to defer to our city attorney on this matter, as he is the one that's been dealing with this issue, and we need to provide a path forward for him.
Thanks, Chris. As you are all aware, the city recently has suffered a cyber event, a breach, and as, man, I feel like I'm echoing here. As everyone's working really hard to get all of this back up, one thing that it has affected is our ability to respond to open records requests. Certain data we don't have access to, videos, other documents. It has resulted in the filing of one lawsuit. I've handled that. It's gone. It's taken care of. Most of the lawyers that I've been able to deal with, I've been able to put off, and they get it, but there are still some threats of litigation out there. It came to a point where just a couple of police videos, I spent half a day at the county attorney and district attorney's office just trying to locate these to make sure they didn't exist in order to respond to some of these requests, because we don't have access to some of our systems. And we're not really sure when we're going to have access to some of those systems. So that's what brought this forward, and I asked Chris, urged him to put it on the agenda so that you could consider making the findings that are necessary. What the result of this is will be an initial 7-day suspension of the Open Records Act as it applies to the city of Granbury. We will try to comply as much as possible. I did reach out to the Attorney General and explain our situation, and I advised them of our intended actions tonight. The attorney at the AG that I spoke with said, hey, that's absolutely a great idea. That's what you should do. That's what Dallas did when they recently experienced the same type of cyber event or data breach that they had. They were crippled as we are in some aspects and unable to respond. So in order to avoid litigation, and when I talked to the AG, they said that they had received a few complaints as well. We're in a position where those complaints are not going to go anywhere because we're still within the time period, which was why the urgency of this being on tonight's agenda. One of those will expire tomorrow, so we need to take action on this tonight. So aside from all of that, this is also the opportunity to say we're not trying to avoid complying with the law or the open records laws. We just don't have the ability to. There are certain records we cannot get to. And until we get to a certain place in re-implementing all of our systems, we won't be able to get to them. So this is the initial step to say, look, we just don't have the ability to. It's going to buy us 7 days initially. It can be extended another 7 days, and then from that point, we'll go back to the Attorney General and see, if necessary, if we can't get those systems up in the next 14 days, what actions we need to take from there. So what we need, it's a very specific statute. We need a declaration of a catastrophe due to the cyber event. It does qualify. We already have a record of that because Dallas had the same event, and the Attorney General concurred with me on that. And then we need to declare a suspension period, the initial 7 days. That's a requirement of the statute to begin at 12 a.m. October 18th, so in a few hours from now. We need that initial 7-day period to start, and then I need you to authorize the city manager. I mean, I guess it could be me, but I prefer the city manager because it's less work for me, but you need to authorize someone to reach out and get online and report the notice of the suspension to the Attorney General. That needs to be done within 2 days of you taking action tonight. And then I would also request that you authorize the city manager to make any necessary additional requests for extensions, because when I look at the calendar, there won't be another council meeting before until well after the initial 7 days expires, unless you want to have a special meeting to reconsider this. The goal here is to get all of the systems back up and to get into compliance. But we need to take this action to protect the city and stop any complaints and any more threats of litigation. It's a Band-Aid, it's a temporary fix, but hopefully it'll buy us enough time to get back where we need to be and get these systems re-implemented and move forward.
Comments? Questions? Mr. Vail?
Mayor, I move to declare a catastrophe as to the city of Granbury pursuant to all applicable local government code provisions, and that a condition of occurrence exists that directly interferes with the governing body's ability to comply with the requirements of Chapter 552, Texas Local Government Code, being a cyber event. To establish a suspension date is to open records beginning at 12 a.m. on October 18, 2023, and authorizing the city manager to properly notify and to submit the findings of the Granbury City Council to the Office of the Texas Attorney General, as well as authorizing the city manager to make requests for any additional and necessary extensions.
I will second that.
I hear a motion. I hear a second. No other comments on that, so...
Mayor?
Yes.
I just want some clarification from Jeremy, but if I may. So Jeremy, you're saying right now we're just requesting for 7 days, and by the end of the 7 days, we should be out of this disaster. Is that what I'm hearing, or no? Or you're just initially 7 days?
Yeah, we're requesting 7 days because that's all the law allows us to request initially.
Okay.
Yeah, it gives us an initial 7 days, and then we can go back if we're not able to extract the data that we need for some certain of these requests. Then we can go back and request an additional 7 days.
So there's no way of putting since this is a disaster declaration, to put a total suspense for a period until we're back up?
So, actually, the statute used to allow for a request for as many extensions as possible, but during COVID, several municipalities were taking advantage of that, and they had people working from home, so they just kept filing extensions. It wasn't because they didn't have access to these things. So, not this past session, but the session before, the legislature actually amended this bill, through a bill, they amended this statute and said, no, you guys are abusing it. You get 7 days. You get an initial, and you get one more. And then after that, you can come and file something with us for something, some sort of a waiver for something extra.
Okay. So right now, we're just abiding by what the statute states. 7 days, 7 days, and then after that, if it continues,
We'll take other actions then.
Okay, all right. Thank you for the clarification.
I hope no one has changed their mind, because I have a motion and I have a second. Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. No more discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. You have your extension. I assume Mr. Kaufman has more work to do. Way to go. Okay, 7.4. Now, this is going to be a little bit unusual. We're going to call 7.4 as the resolution, and then we are going to move to a executive session, because we have a presentation on some economic development. So we're going to move out. We will then come back and discuss in open session, and then we will probably go back into executive session to discuss the other items that we have on our agenda. So, I now declare Granbury City Council is convened in open session. All members are present. City Council will go into closed session pursuant to provisions of Texas Government Code in accordance with the authority contained in the following sections. Section 551.087, deliberation regarding economic development negotiations with the Granbury Housing Authority. So we are now in executive session. We are ready to reconvene. I now declare that the Granbury City Council reconvenes into open session. There was no action taken in closed session, and all council members are present. So we're going to go back now to 7.4. which was to consider adopting resolution number 2323, reporting the streamlined voluntary conversion program presented by the Housing Authority of the City of Granbury, Texas, and to authorize Mayor Jarrett to sign the certificate of consistency. Any questions, discussion?
Mayor,
Ms. Burwell.
I'd like to make a motion to postpone definitely item 7.4 to November 21st, please.
Second.
I hear a motion to postpone definitely to November 21st, and I hear a second. Any discussion? No discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. We have 6 ayes and no nays. We will table that definitely to November the 21st. Okay? I now declare the Granbury City Council is convened into open session. All members are present. The council will go into closed session pursuant to provisions of Texas Government Code in accordance with the authority contained in the following sections, and they are 551071, consultation with attorney, pending or contemplated litigation. Section 551072, deliberation regarding real attorney, 551, real property, deliberation, real property, and 551074, personnel matters, city attorney, 551087, deliberation regarding economic development negotiations with the Granbury Housing Authority. So we are now in executive session. We're going to reconvene. I now declare that the Granbury City Council reconvenes into open session. There was no action taken in closed session. All council members are present. Council, any work to be done?
Mayor.
Ms. Burwell.
I'd like to make a motion to authorize the city attorney and the city manager to negotiate a settlement agreement related to the airport terminal building project.
Second.
Ms. Burwell makes a motion. Mr. Vale seconds. Any discussion? No. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. I hear no nays, it passes 6-0. Other business?
Mayor.
Ms. Burwell.
I'd like to make a motion to waive the requirements of the City of Granbury Ordinance Section 2.04J1 related to the expiration of the preliminary plat for AMZ BTI Granbury LLC and vest said property for subsequent filings related to the property.
Second.
Ms. Burwell makes a motion. Mr. Wadley made a second. Any discussion? None? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. I hear no nays, passes 6-0.
Mr. Mayor.
Oh, Ms. Burwell.
I'd like to make a motion to authorize the city manager to execute a consent to the assignment and assumption as it relates to the current legal services contract with the Hyde Law Firm, PLLC, to accept consent and authorize the assignment to and the assumption of said contract to the Sorrell Law Firm, PLLC, and Jeremy Sorrell.
Second.
I hear a motion made by Ms. Burwell, second by Mr. Vail. Comments? None? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. I hear no nays, it's 6-0. Ms. Burwell?
That's it.
Oh. Ms. Burwell says there's no further business. Anybody else? No? Then there is no further business. I announce the meeting adjourned.